everybody was great. We had a good time. We had a great time with them afterwards.
Yep.
I generously finally let Dal talk to the creators at the end of the night.
Yeah, it wasn't my preference, but I gritted my teeth and got through it.
That's fine.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. I still approve, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Don't you like how descriptive and detailed that invoice is?
I do. I could look at the Transformers wiki and figure out what Wave 4 of Legacy Evolution was. I don't 100%. Yeah, I don't remember.
You'll notice those are all in blue.
I think it's... What is it?
Nemesis
Leo,
I don't have to know.
And I can't remember who the other figure
don't have
is.
to know. You'll notice they're all in blue.
I do.
Which means those are
link.
links.
Yeah.
Right? For all 4 of the case items on that invoice, can you tell me what the link goes to?
No page. Like a dead link.
Product unavailable.
Yeah.
So this is stuff, I don't know how long ago we ordered it.
I mean, probably like 6 months at least.
And I wonder if it was all ordered on the same time.
Probably. We can look at... I wrote down what some stuff is.
Yeah,
so,
I don't like getting a hit this big.
Sure. Why would you?
This is a rough week for invoicing because...
I mean, this is... What does this work out to? It's over $700 worth of Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends, which aren't really selling right now.
Right.
That's a lot.
And also, I guarantee you there's a street date for that bottom one.
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
But it's maybe not, because, like, that's tying into a movie that's been delayed, and it probably was a thing where they're like, well, we're definitely shipping it out here. They can't tell us, like, well, the movie's been pushed back to November, now you have to hold it until October. It's like, no, then they wouldn't have shipped it out. Like, I think they're probably fine with the Marvel's action figures going on the shelves.
Well,
June.
The G.I. Joe thing on there is a single piece. That's
right.
fine.
It's
But the other 3 cases, well, I mean, the other 3 items, there's multiple cases per.
Yeah.
I can't do any prep work for.
No.
I can't break down and start putting individual item codes in the system.
Yeah, I mean,
because we have no idea what's in there.
Yes and no. I mean, we could probably, if I searched around on the internet, I could probably tell you what was in the Marvel's case and how it breaks down.
Yeah, but it's also...
You shouldn't have to. I get it.
No. And I wonder if these were ever active links, because all of the Hasbro things are ordered so hush-hush.
Right.
So code names and no photos, and we can't email you this. We have to tell it to you over the phone, so you can't even have the code names. Which no one cares that much, man.
Yeah.
They really don't. So
it's either Bludgeon and Trashmaster or Maximo Leo Prime and Comic Universe Tarn is what's in that Transformers case, because I know you were worried about it.
Thanks for listening. I'm hanging up now. However, all of this, the inability to do any prep work, it's not my problem.
Yeah, it's shipping out, what, today? So we'll get it Monday?
We're getting it Monday, yeah.
Take care of it.
It's your problem.
Thanks.
But I don't know what to ask you for, to put aside for me.
I'll take some photos.
Just saying.
Sure.
I should be able to know ahead of time.
Yeah, again, we could probably find out what's in the Marvel's case. I'm sure it's like, I think it's like half movie figures. Like it's new Captain Marvel, new Photon, new Ms. Marvel, maybe one other MCU figure, and then the rest are like...
Marvel? She's dead.
Novar Marvel Boy. I can't remember what the other 2 are.
Yeah, and the crummy costume.
Yeah, not the bike shorts one.
Yeah.
But the Young Avengers one.
The lame one, like I said.
The lamer one.
And this one is just Marvel Legends Spider-Man B.
Again, we've got
not even 2.
We have that written down on a note in the special order binder, because when he was telling me these, it was just like, here's what we think is in them, and it's like, okay, let me write that down. Because, well, I mean, he might have had a list of figures, and I wrote them down, or maybe I skipped a couple. I don't remember. I think Spider-Man B might be the one that has Daredevil Elektra in it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe?
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, it is... Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we needed to 3 of those.
But it's tricky because, like, yeah, we could probably sell at least, 4 or 5 Daredevil Electras, but, like, what about the rest of the case,
Right.
I would like a Daredevil Electra, but I'll go without one if it means not having to get 6 other figures we can't sell. Maybe I'll find her at Target.
We had an issue where a club member / employee thought they were down for an omnibus that came out this week, but they were not down for it. But they are pretty sure they signed up for it.
Okay.
And it's somebody who does their own orders.
Sure.
So they would have...
I mean, is it on their account as something that hasn't been filled?
No.
Then they weren't down for it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've had instances where because of a data issue, something that someone's down for doesn't trigger on...
You know what?
On FOC or
I didn't look it up.
on
It just
initial
wasn't on
receiving?
the polls for them this week.
Okay.
That's all. I didn't dig any further.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look then.
I was very busy ignoring other apparently important things to do.
You weren't ignoring it.
I mean, ultimately, I ignored the entire exchange.
You thought I was handling it. It's fine.
I didn't know there was a thing to handle.
Sure. Understood. I'm sure it can be taken care of.
You mean like
Sure.
taken care of? Hey, Dale, last week we had what I think is one of the bigger events Challengers could ever possibly have
Yeah?
in the store. Looking back, not counting last week, what do you think were the biggest names we've had signings for?
CM Punk.
Dave McKean.
Lance Briggs.
I like how yours are not comic book people.
Because those are the ones that when I go to the dry
No,
cleaners...
Lance Briggs had a comic book, Dal.
CM
Come
Punk
on.
had a comic book.
Yeah.
When I go to the dry cleaners, those are the ones that they ask me about. Like, are you guys going to have any more guys from the Bears? It's like, I mean, if they come to us, sure. Or like, does CM Punk still come to the store? Like, that's the stuff that the people
You don't think Israel Adonijah was a big enough name?
No, sorry, Izzy. The 3 things...
He was way more fun. I'll tell you that.
The 3 things that are arguably the biggest things Challengers has ever done. Lance Briggs.
Yeah.
CM Punk. Rick and Morty Mobile.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we've had some amazing creators, and we've been incredibly lucky to have them, but, Faith Aaron Hicks doesn't move the needle in the same way that a Rick Mobile does at the height of Rick and Morty popularity.
Right, yeah.
And I wish it did, I wish for some of these people that as many people turned out for Catherine Imanen as would for...
14 years ago last week.
Right? As they did for a then current, I think, Chicago Bear. But that's just not how the world works. Like, it doesn't. Lance Briggs is a bigger deal than a better comic creator,
Yeah. You know what I did 5 years ago today?
What's that, Patrick?
I saw Anne Boleyn live.
For the first time?
Yep.
Wow.
Now it's 3 times. But you know why that's a fun little anecdote for the day?
Because their EP dropped today.
It did EP drop today.
How was it?
It's real good.
Do you like it better than the single or worse than the single? Differently?
That's always an unfair question because I've had a lot of time with the single. I've had 2 weeks of the single.
Okay.
So I know it real well. And then other songs I'm still learning.
Sure.
The one thing I don't like is there's a 7-minute song that is honestly just like 2.5 minutes of wave sounds at the end of it.
That sucks.
So, going back to events, and
Yes.
somebody had a thread online about, hey, what were your biggest events? And the majority of it was non-comics.
Always.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that's really frustrating. And we love doing signings with creators. We love the idea of getting people into town so that people who shop at Challengers, or just people in Chicago, can have a chance to interact with an artist that they're a fan of. And hopefully it's a way to promote a work that people might not be as familiar with. But that stuff is small potatoes compared to any sort of dumb, event that you do. Any gimmicky thing is probably going to get more people to pay attention than saying a celebrated author who has numerous awards and famous works is going to be appearing at a bookstore. They don't care about. But, if we were to do, I don't know, a bounce house or something, we would probably have more people show up.
Remember we had Greg Hurwitz, and it was front page, full color, Chicago Sun-Times Sunday book insert mention for it, and we got 5 people.
Yep. Do you remember the time that we had Jeffrey Brown and it was like you, me, and another guy.
Yeah.
Like
It was real good, though.
and
Change Bots is such a good series.
And God bless him for Jeffrey Brown to not just turn around and leave like he probably should have.
It was a few more people. There was a family. There was maybe 7 people.
Maybe 7 people. And that's counting us.
Which is more than we got for Reina. But anyway, one of the stores that said their biggest event, Brody King.
I believe
I made
it.
that up. That's a lie.
I mean...
It's Chris Jericho.
Sure, okay. Chris Jericho's a good one.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that... And again, one of our probably our biggest event ever was the CM Punk event.
You didn't mention Amy Garcia and AJ Mendez in those big events.
No, that was a good one too. I mean, that would come in 4th probably.
Yeah. So anyway,
yes,
we had Jeff Lemire and Tilly Walton.
we did. We're very
And
lucky.
of course, there was someone online doing the whole "What? I had no idea. I wish
always.
I knew.
Oh, I meant to make it. Okay, great.
I would have made that 5-hour drive. I'm sorry we didn't do more to
Yeah.
let you know."
We spent like 3 months promoting the event.
And I think that Tilly Walton and Jeff Lemire, for different audiences, are both A-listers in comics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how did the signing go?
I think it went well in that it was run well and everyone who showed up got a chance to see the creators they wanted. Financially, how did it go for us? Good.
It was good.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. We were always hoping for great, but
Yeah.
going in that the body of work these creators have, everybody has their stuff.
Right.
And even though Jeff Lemire had a brand new single issue out, you're not going to...
It's a single issue.
It's a single issue. You're not going to make a ton of money with
No.
a single issue for an event.
Yeah, we've never been able to figure out how to successfully monetize in a way that allows us to fly people in the release of a single issue comic book. Like the amount you make per book is so minuscule. Like, I don't mean the percentage, I mean the literal dollars and cents of it. You have to sell so many of them to do things like pay for airfare, pay for a hotel room.
Yeah.
And even then, the best you can do is break even. Like, if you have a new release book and you sell 250 copies to people who show up for a signing, that means, hundreds of people show up to a signing, which we've never had for a comic creator. Even then, congratulations, you've broken even. Maybe. If you have a cheap hotel room and cheap airfare, you just broke even, which means you would be better off not flying someone in and selling literally one comic book than you would be flying someone in for a signing and selling 250 copies.
Yep.
That's how the financials
the math
work
works out. Yeah. So there is a quote-unquote comic creator that 2 Chicago area stores have signings with on the same day coming up in a couple weeks in July.
Okay.
And each store has them for an hour.
Right. 1 hour only.
Yes. And the rules are you have to buy this book.
Well, this specific exclusive variant cover.
Yes. This book, this cover, you will get 1 personalized autograph, and that's it. Regardless of how many copies of the book you buy, if you buy 1 copy of the book, you get a personalized autograph. If you buy 5 copies of the book, you get 1 personalized autograph, period.
Right.
And that is a way to force money out of the situation.
Sure. I mean,
it's a standard book industry
absolutely
policy.
That was the thing when after the event we were talking to people from comics publishers and they were asking how the event was going. We were trying to explain when you go to a book event at a bookstore, the assumption is you go there. There's maybe a little talk or whatever or reading, but the signing part is you buy the book, not a book, the book. Right then and there, the author signs it. That's it. It doesn't matter how many things you've bought before or how much stuff you've got at home. 9 times out of 10, all they're going to sign is you have to buy the book regardless.
Yeah, sometimes if they've announced the signing and you buy the book early, you keep your receipt to show that you bought it in that window from that store.
Or there might be an instance where you buy the book, but you don't have to get the book signed. You could then get something else signed. But you are buying a book. That is the first part of the equation is you buy the book, and then everything
And as
that happens
someone who
after
used to
that
go to a
is
lot of book
for the
signings,
store.
I'm 100% fine with that.
Yeah, again,
That's what's expected.
that's just how it's done. But with comics,
It's not
it's
that.
not. It's like if you have Jason Aaron, the assumption is like, well, I'm a Jason Aaron fan. I'm going to bring my Jason Aaron stuff and get Jason Aaron to sign it. And it's like, well, that's awesome for you. Why is this valuable for anybody else? Like, how is Jason Aaron getting there? Is he just coming in from wherever he lives to do this? How is the store making any money? Why is the store hosting this? Like, why is Jason Aaron not
promoting
signing?
Jason Aaron's work.
And I think for a lot of fans, there's the assumption of like, well, you're getting a lot of people into your store, and it's like, cool. What if they don't buy anything? And that has to be part of the discussion because, frankly, that's what we found from a lot of these signings is unless you make it mandatory, a bunch of people are not going to buy anything. They're going to come in with their stuff. They're going to thank you very politely for having the event, and maybe they'll say nice things about your store, and, oh, my God, this was so great, and I'll definitely be back. They don't spend a dime, and it's like, well, none of that works for me.
I can't believe they made a statue of that Wolverine costume that was so hideous.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's so bad.
My dream when Kotobukiya was still doing the 1/10 scale statues was that they would eventually do the other designs, and they never did.
So, to reiterate, the signing went very well. Tilly Walden and Jeff Lemire could not have been nicer, more gracious people.
Absolutely great.
Everyone who was there from the publishing side, from Morgan Dynamite Perry, without whom this would not have happened, editor Alex Antone, Matt. It's not Parkinson, is it? It may be Parkinson. Matt was great. We had a good time with everybody from Image who was there, and Skybound. Sean, I don't know how to say his last name, Mankiewicz. I don't know.
I saw it was Mankiewicz.
I think that's phonetic, but not correct.
Okay.
Anyway, everybody was great. We had a good time. We had a great time with them afterwards.
Yep.
I generously finally let Dal talk to the creators at the end of the night.
Yeah, it wasn't my preference, but I gritted my teeth and got through it.
That's fine.
No, they were all great. I mean, the event as a whole was great, but yeah, like you said, it was very good. We wanted it to be great financially, and like we got a bunch of different books. Obviously, you can't carry everything that Jeff Lemire does because Jeff Lemire produces a lot of work.
Yeah, we had somebody come in specifically looking for. Do you have any signed copies of May's book? No.
Didn't get May's book. Yeah, we tended to stick to Bone Orchard Mythos because that was the new series that was out, and people who were maybe picking up Tenement, we'd wanted to be able to say, like, hey, you can also get Passageway and 10,000 Black Feathers.
Brass tacks, we got this event thanks to Skybound and Image, so we wanted to promote Skybound and Image books for this.
Yeah, this wasn't a thing where we were just like, well, we can probably get Sweet Tooth and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had some stuff on the shelves that were like, well, we'll put that out.
Black Hammer, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
Black Hammer, Underwater Welder, you name it.
The Skybound thing. You know, we violated that a little bit with Tilly Walden because she only has the one.
Right, she only has
Skybound
Clementine
book.
out. So we had a few other things. Junior High had just come out fairly recently from First Second, so we wanted to have that available for people. And again, we sold a bunch of that stuff. Not as much as we would have liked necessarily, but we did sell a bunch. And so it was a good day for us financially because of the signing.
The reason I brought the event up, and I wanted to group it in with other events we've had recently, is we've had some good turnouts for signings. The Maddie Lubchansky event went well.
I think so, yeah.
It had a larger turnout than we had expected. We had Gene Ha and Damon Hampton, Anthony Fowler in a few weeks back. We have tomorrow, but this will already have happened.
June was a big month for events.
Yeah.
From start to back.
We have Afua Richardson in tomorrow, along with Henri Compton. And we've got a tentative end of July event that it's all down to the creator scheduling because they are out of town now and will be out of town most of the month.
Right.
And they want to do something. We want to do something.
Just trying to make the time work.
Yeah. We've got more things even coming up. August has already a 6 creator event on Saturday the 12th, all rock and roll theme books.
Yep.
With Mike Norton's Rock Gods of Jackson, Tennessee, and Don Cardenas and Steve Bryant and Jason Millett for Evie and the Helsings, and Dan Doherty and John Westhoff with Drumsticks of Doom. All music related.
Yep.
Signings for that. We have a great YA event coming up for the book The Pirate and the Porcelain Girl with Emily Riesbeck. And this is first pass at the QR code flyer for it.
Neat. Good choice.
I want to... I had to condense lines to fit everything up here.
Sure.
I tried a smaller version of this, but it looked all clunky.
No, I think that's good.
I want this to work. I have an idea of making this into a circle instead.
Oh, interesting.
But then also would want the symmetry of a circle there.
Yeah.
But maybe just a circle there.
We'll see.
Can't tell. Man, I hate it. I hate it when I'm doing this thing and orders come in. It's great that there's orders all the time, but all the orders came in at just inappropriate times.
Tough to get things done.
Yeah. So the signings have been working out pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And we have Tyrell Cannon.
Yes, for
the Schlub.
The Schlub.
That's going to be
late
August. So August already has 2 Saturdays in a row and then a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's always more. Theoretically, a signing in October.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Don't want to make any promises because even when we get commitments, they tend to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mean to bring up the Jeff Lemire and Tilly Walden event to be like, I wasn't good enough. Just like,
no, and
it was real good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I think it has less to do with how it did and how we have this sort of expectation of Jeff Lemire is one of the most popular creators that we have on a regular monthly basis at Challengers. There's a large fan base for his work. He's produced a lot of stuff that people who shop at Challengers feel very strongly about and have a deep connection to. He's arguably one of the biggest names in comics. Tilly Walden, likewise, is someone who, from the start, has been amazing. And her first published works are some of my favorite books of all time. And has consistently and thoroughly been putting out really great stuff. Tilly Walden is a machine as far as producing content, almost at Jeff Lemire levels. So when you have the two of them together, in our mind, I think we saw it something like the CM Punk signing, where it's the CM Punk Jason Aaron signing, where we're this is so huge. These creators are so big. Everyone from all over Chicago is going to come to this. And then that was probably never accurate.
Yeah.
It's an author event.
Signings are a very territorial thing, and there's a lot of people that won't go to a signing of a creator they like if it's not at their store. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that we've learned over the years. And while I can't wrap my head around it, even when I was running a whole different store, I would go out to Moondogs to meet Neil Gaiman or whatever.
Sure.
It's not a territory thing.
It doesn't. It wouldn't be to us, but it's
only comic fans who make shops territorial.
Right. I don't know that if you were a fan of a prose author and that prose author was signing at a bookstore that wasn't yours, I don't think you'd be like, well, damn it, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
It would be well, they're on a book tour. I'm going to go to the store that they're going to.
We tell every creator, especially local creators or people that are starting out, sign at every comic shop.
Yeah.
Don't just sign with us. You get a hold of every store and spread that net as wide as possible.
Yeah, because when you go sign at Gmart or Dark Tower or Third Coast, you are reaching a whole new audience because of how territorial people are.
Yeah, and we'll never be like, oh, Mike Norton is our guy. You can't have him. Mike Norton should sign everywhere.
Absolutely.
Mike Norton tracked down a store in Jackson, Tennessee to do a release signing for Rock Gods.
That's great.
Because it's set in Jackson. He wanted to do it. And the woman who owns it, and I guess it's a kind of like a variety shop.
Okay, sure.
Variety, the Chicago named store, not a variety store.
Sure.
Didn't exactly know who he was kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's still, he's like, nope, doing it. I need to do it in Jackson.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I love that he's doing that, too. I love that he put out guitar picks.
Yeah.
unrelated, he had done a post a week or so ago about the people that are currently working in comics that inspire him. Mm-hmm. And then today's was the people that got him into comics.
Aw.
You know, your Mike Parabecks, your Matt Wagner's, your John Burns, your Art Adams's.
Yeah.
Of course, Mike Wieringo.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. John Romita.
Sure.
Stuff like that. Which John Romita was the only person that made both lists.
Ah.
I mean, not currently working today, but still, without John Romita artwork, Mike Norton wouldn't have picked up a pencil.
Interesting.
I forgot why I was talking about Mike Norton.
Signings.
Yeah, I thought I'd moved on, though. I thought I'd moved on. We're dusting off Ex Libris Challengers and doing a new book plate for a book coming up.
That's right, we are.
I did most of the prep work for it today, but I'm not thrilled with the colors. However, it came with colors or black and white. Mm-hmm. When I had said, like, hey, that works, and maybe I'll even, like, take a coloring pass on it myself. I was told, oh, no, there's a color version.
I just thought you wanted the black and white.
Like, I always picture book plates as black and white, but I'll send you everything.
Okay.
So I have it, it's all done and everything, but it's like, weird backgrounds, but who knows? And that is one that we will have to get printed up, send to one creator, and then have another creator sign it as well. So it'll be a rare 2-signature
double signed
Challengers book plate. The 6-gun one had 2 signatures.
It did.
I don't know if anyone else did. I can't remember.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
The Mike Norton Chris Minton one.
Oh yeah. No. That was it wasn't a book plate. That was a.
Oh, it
was a print.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of prints.
Yep.
Book plates. I don't.
Oh, Revival. Mike Norton and Tim Seeley.
Yes. Okay. There you go.
Nonetheless, that's all good. I've got a bunch of random things. We'll get to advanced books that I've read later. I don't know how many of them you read.
I made sure I read one of them too.
Okay, because I specifically, I think it's not as good content from us when only one of us has read a book. So earlier this week I showed Dal exactly, like, here's all the list of the books I read. Mm-hmm. I added 3 more to the bottom of it.
Oh gosh.
Sacrificers 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was another one that I could have and I just was not in the mood for.
I mean, you're too busy working with this week's podcast sponsor, AEW Fight Forever. Yes. And by sponsor, I mean, it's just something to take up all your time. They're not actually paying any money for this.
No.
They could, though.
Yeah. I'll play them and another game against each other, and we'll see if we can leverage the best deal and get a lazy river and...
I got a bunch of riding mowers I need to get.
To explode.
Yeah.
$100 bills to throw in the garbage. No, AEW Fight Forever is a lot of fun. I'm working my way through Road to the Elite with my chosen wrestler, Yuka Sakazaki.
I have played 1 match.
You did.
And I won, so I'm undefeated.
Much like Aubrey Edwards, you are undefeated.
That's right. I got to get my undefeated
one
shirt.
and done. Did you see that Pro Wrestling Tees is having another sale like this weekend?
No, but you know who is a new Pro Wrestling Tees shirt? Billy Starks.
Yes, I saw that.
It's a good shirt, but it's a white shirt.
So I'll do a real quick aside on AEW Fight Forever. So there's a thing that you do, basically like on the Road to Elite. It's a storyline for your character. You from the formation of AEW and the initial All-In event through a year's worth of Dynamites and pay-per-views and stuff. And little storylines happen each cluster of days. Like you do 4 weeks and then there's a pay-per-view. And so for that chunk of 5 things, there's a little storyline that develops. But each time you go to a new town, each week is a new town. Obviously, it's probably do Dynamite. You have like 4 blocks of time that you can fill. And you can go to a restaurant, you can go sightseeing, you can play a mini game, you can...
stay in your hotel and do video games.
You can do a dark match. But one of the things you can do is a meet and greet. When you're in Chicago and you choose to go to a meet and greet...
Pro Wrestling Tees.
It's at Pro Wrestling Tees. And there's even a little bit afterwards where, like, Matt Jackson's like, isn't this great? Like, Pro Wrestling Tees. And, like, Yuka Sakazaki's like, yeah, the first time I got my own t-shirt, it was so great. And Matt Jackson's like, they do these events. It's so cool that people get to meet wrestlers. And it's like, this feels incredibly promotional, and I kind of like it. Because I know where Pro Wrestling Tees is, and I go there frequently.
Speaking of promotional, this weekend is NASCAR weekend in Chicago, which I do not know a single person who lives in Chicago who's excited for it. But there was
Lori Lightfoot.
I said lives in Chicago.
She lives in Chicago.
Did she move out already?
I don't think so.
Or was chased out? I forget. I didn't watch it with the sound on, but there was a Colt Cabana promotional video
Okay.
where he was in like driving gear with sunglasses.
Okay.
And he was angrily cutting a promo.
Sure.
And I guess he was racing some other people.
Okay.
And then it would pull when it like pulls back. He's on this tiny little electric scooter.
Perfect.
Yep. And I think it might have been a Pro Wrestling Tees spot as well.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. We really should work with them in some capacity, but we're so far beneath them.
Oh, we're such small potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It would be an act of charity and nothing else.
We tried to get a Pro Wrestling Tees store years ago because they were working on a comic component that never worked out, and I was helping them with that. And then a few years after that, I'm like, hey, what about a store for us? They're like, oh, did you still want to do that? Like, I'll take that as a no.
Understood.
I mean, we have a threadless one, but it never, aside from Margie. Thanks, Margie.
Thanks, Margie.
Most people don't go to it.
Sure.
Maybe I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, we don't really promote it.
There used to be a QR code right at the front door.
Used to be.
Yeah. Now there's going to be QR codes on our flyers.
Yeah, everywhere.
And we'll be printing less
Mark
flyers. Full disclosure, when I made this Pirate and the Porcelain Girl flyer, I'd forgotten to put the barcode in. I'm like, oh, wait, we're doing barcodes or QR codes now. Yeah, we got to do that. We got to do that.
Hashtags, Patrick. They're called hashtags.
Dal, I saw a... Thanks, Dad. I saw an article that I refused to read.
Okay.
What to read if you're excited for Kraven.
Kraven the Hunter?
The Kraven the Hunter movie. I just figured it was blank because no one's excited for that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess read about other movies, I guess would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Very weird.
It's now time to thank our Patreon supporters, including our annual patrons, Becca Hilburn and Joseph Coco, Bren Helt, Dal's mom, Diane Bush, President of the Brian Garside Fan Club, Django Borin, Philip Sablik from Boom Studios, Jose Villagomez, Josh Crowley of Westfield Comics, our bestest wrestling watching pal, Michael Lee, Michael Romanenko, our patrons who have created their own tier, Andrew, Drew Troit Aaliyah, Bridget K. Neville, Chris Burton, Claudine Neville, our other generous patrons from the Say My Name pledge level, Ben-Hur Benedict Calaguas, Brad Brooks from Dumb Shit Done Well, Manage Comic Zone, Brian Garside, Christopher Haith, Drew Triner and Ashley Edwards, Challengers Reservist Fallon Mackerline, my brother George Brower, Heidi D., Holly Aitchison, Jacob Sorelli of Kamikaze, Josh Trigg, Mark Hammond of Aw Yeah Comics, Margie, Keith, Logan, and Malcolm Springham, Matt Armstrong, Mitchell Davies of All Star Comics in Melbourne, Australia, Morgan Dynamite Perry, Nick Baldwin, my longtime pal Robert Burns, Ron Payne, Sean Bowers, Tad Eggleston and Johnny Williams, Thomas Nagovin of Century Guild, Walt Grogan, Walt's Comic Shop from Berlin, Germany. And if you want to hear your name thanked on this very podcast once a month, head over to patreon.com/challengers and pledge at the $5 Say My Name level. And a big thank you to all our other patrons at the various other pledge levels. We got an email today from Chip at Distillery, and I always get overexcited when I get a Chip email because I think it's Chip Zdarsky, whose Chip email today was phenomenal.
It was great.
So good. That definitely...
That Harvey Ward thing is priceless.
You definitely need to subscribe to Chip Zdarsky's Substack.
Yeah.
Just do the free version.
Yeah, you can subscribe to for free.
His emails are hilarious.
They really are good. But the email that we got from Distillery was maybe less good. It made me kind of angry.
You know what? Me too, which is why we're talking about it. Basically, it's like, hey, here's one more open order cover, which there's way too many covers, for their Devil's Cut $10 anthology book where...
Introductory anthology.
Most of the stories are like 4 pages. Some are a little bit longer.
But eight of them are going to continue into other works.
And
It's going to be collectible, Patrick.
Look, this book is under-ordered, okay? The numbers have come in and it's under-ordered, and this book is going to fly off the shelf because it's collectible, because these are all first appearances of characters. And holy shit, do not sell me a book that way.
Also, don't sell me a book with a promotional email where you spend a whole bunch of time telling me all these variant covers, including like 1 in 100 variants and stuff like that. But then also say, we're a small company, and so we can't really overprint it, so you're going to have to order
this
it
to the bone.
And then also tell me that you're not going to reprint it, because then all you're telling me is all we care about is the collectability. Like, we could care about the readership, we could care about growing the market by deeper discounts, by doing any sort of promotion beyond a whole bunch of variant covers and promises of collectability and that it's print to order. Like, all you're doing is shifting all of the weight of this onto stores, and then also kind of giving me the stick of like, well, if you miss out, you've missed out forever. Think about how much money you're leaving on the table. Like, no, man, think about how hard it is for stores to take a gamble on stuff like this, and how easily a store's investment in a book cannot pay off. Like,
the amount of
goddamn
promotion and outreach they're doing, we had 2 pre-orders for this book.
Yeah, no one knows what it is,
and
or
one
cares.
specifically because Elsa Chartier does a story.
Yeah, and guess what, man? It's under-ordered not because anyone is necessarily making a value judgment on the book. Patrick, you read it? You said you liked it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to order it very close to what my pre-order numbers are, because I can't afford to get 98 extra copies of a brand new book that people might not want. Let me show you the boxes plural, of Bad Idea comics that I have to sell for 50% off that are still not moving.
So that made me go look up the Bad Idea preview book, whatever it was called.
I don't remember.
You know the one I'm talking about. The one we had a shelf full of.
Yeah, I don't remember. I have tried to block all of the Bad Idea stuff out of my brain.
Okay, then don't listen to this part.
I'll
just talk to the listener instead.
Okay.
I wanted to see what the aftermarket value of that free giveaway book was. And when I just went to
we had to
eBay,
we had to do like a limit.
Yeah.
Like it was a very like, you can't take more than one. It's free, but you can't take more than one. And people were trying to like wheel and deal on it. Oh, my friend couldn't make it or whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry, this is the rule.
So they're listing for like, $15, $12, $11, all the way down to 50 cents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, there's no...
Again, you want to get all of Monster Kill Squad? We have them for half off a cover price. I have multiple copies.
Sure.
Of every issue. Nobody, like, someone, I think somewhere on some sort of collector board mentioned it, because we had one guy buy some and then 2 other guys buy a few more like the next day, and then that was it.
Yep.
And that's basically it for the last 6 months, more.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, that's why stores are quote-unquote under-ordering Distillery's Double Cut #1. Again, the idea of like, this is going to be a huge book, you're totally missing out. Also, we're not going to overprint, we're not going to reprint. Is like, that is such a mixed message to me. Like, again, when you're touting the collectible aspect to that extent, all you're telling me is, again, this is just like Bad Idea. No one's going to care about the stories. Like, a few people will read it and enjoy it, and they'll talk about it online, but not to the extent that you're trying to get me to buy in on it.
A-list creators, a ton of people that have huge name recognition.
Sure.
A bunch of our friends.
Yeah, I mean,
doing this book.
Like, this is another situation like Bad Idea, where on paper, literally or figuratively, it's exactly what I want out of the market. It's a really nice production model. It's great creators. It's diverse material. But yet, like, the top layer of it, as far as like the marketing and the management, is just like so off-putting and so antithetical to what the first burst of PR was.
And also, one of the more annoying things is that the cover
I don't like
imagery
the cover at all.
Well, it's their logo that's front and center of everything, and the art is around it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the big Distillery D. I'm sorry, Distillery D.
All of the variant covers, I don't want to order, because even when they're like, oh, we did a Jamie McKelvey one, it's like, I can barely tell because it's just a gigantic D on the cover.
Yeah.
Like, on the wraparound, sure, there's a little bit more on the back. Who's going to see that when you put it on the shelf? I got to give every Distillery
cover.
Devil's Cut cover 2 spots? I'm not doing that. Yeah, everything about this is... It's all just bad idea 2.0 to me. Like, I'd hoped it was going to be different. I hoped that the talk that they were talking was going to get walked when it came time to actually solicit the book, but it's not. It's the same as before. We'll carry some. It's too good a book, like, creator-wise and according to quality-wise, to not carry. I'm not going to, like, cut off my nose to spite my face. Like, we'll carry it. Worst, yeah, I guess argument, or whatever you want to call it, to me as a retailer, is it's going to be collectible. No thanks. That just sounds like a gigantic gamble that I do not want to be a part of.
Yep. Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really dislike getting that email. That was, I wish they had not sent that.
So, speaking of...
I'm going to get yelled at on the phone by Chip Mosier again.
Speaking of books like that, I want to talk about the Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha.
Yes.
So there's a small Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover, organic because Ben Piercy writes them both.
He does. It's true.
And it's going to have an Alpha and an Omega. It's going to cross through their individual series.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 issues each of Wolverine and Ghost Rider, but then, and then 2 bookends.
I wish they didn't do 2 bookends. I feel like they could have done it elsewhere.
That's how they do it all
but
the time.
But here's what's annoying to me about, and I didn't look up prices.
Okay.
I don't know what the cover price is, or...
I would assume the Alpha and Omega are at least $4.99.
This book has 11 covers.
Yep.
Including the incentive variants.
They added more.
That's part of this.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, it didn't start with 11.
Yeah, the incentive covers go 1 in 50,
okay,
1 in 100,
okay,
1 in 200, 1 in 300.
300 copies
yeah.
of a one-shot for a, 6-week event.
So what the 4 covers they added...
Just say the Midtown variant, man.
They added 2... they basically... The covers... So the covers are... What, you get the regular cover.
Yeah.
You get a Frank Miller cover. And then you get the Frank Miller 1 in 50, which is the same... It's the Frank Miller cover, but with no trade dress.
Okay, Virgin variant.
Then there's I don't know, there's somebody else does a cover, and then that's the 1 in 100. Mm-hmm. Right?
And that was, I think, what was initially solicited.
And there's a Miss Minutes cover as well, because it's Miss Minutes month.
Okay.
Nothing, not with claws or riding a flaming motorcycle.
Just one of those theme variant ones, like when they were doing, the Stormbreakers variants, and it was all just, famous things from Marvel, even though it might have nothing to do with the book that's coming out, or the Disney 100 things for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. So at that point, they had 7 covers.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, just seems like a lot for, what it amounts to a 6-week event.
So 7 covers, 2 of them were incentives, so 5 covers. Then they announced 2 covers which I honestly like the look of. It's the insignia covers.
They started with Venom.
Okay.
The week or 2 before on FOC, there was a Venom variant in the same style where it's just a white Venom insignia on a black cover.
Yeah, but I don't like Venom, so we're not talking about that.
I'm just saying. This is part of it. Apparently, that's well enough that I think that's why they're doing it for this.
So they're doing the Ghost Rider insignia, which is a flaming skull, and the Wolverine insignia, which is just 3 claw slashes.
Yeah.
And then they're doing a Virgin variant of each of those, and that's the 1 in 200, 1 in 300.
Yep.
I like the insignia covers enough, but honest to God, I wish it would have been those were covers B and C and we're done.
Sure. Everything Marvel does has way too many covers now. Because, again, they'll run multiple theme month variants. Pride was happening at the same time as George Perez, as was happening as something else, some other theme event, Hellfire Gala. So, you could have just a random X-Men comic that has 7 covers.
Remember when it was just one theme for Marvel?
Yeah, again, that's my point.
Remember when DC would do an A cover and a B cover and that's it?
But, if you want to do a month of theme covers, great. Don't do 3 themes over the same month.
Yeah.
That feels too much. It's just noise now.
I fear for any store that tries to carry them all.
There's no way.
I hope there's stores that can do it. I hope for their sake that there is.
I would assume even stores that have very hefty mail order customers, to make the business model make sense, would still say, we're not carrying for the shelf every variant. There's just no interest. These
really
Miss Minutes
hate...
ones. who off the shelf is like, I was interested in this Ghost Rider Wolverine comic. I think the cover I really want is the one with Miss Minutes on it.
Yeah, I mean, you may get Ms. Minutes fans who just want those covers across the books, but they're
not the other way around.
Right. And don't add the covers so late or after the fact. Stop adding.
So many stores now, and the stuff like this is making it viable. Just order an FOC. They don't order initial order because why would you? Like, even what's in the catalog is not finalized.
Yeah.
Marvel is 2 issues into a monthly catalog solicitation for a book with no title, no creative team, no solicit, no cover art.
Now they can't tell you. It's classified.
It's classified. You'll find out in July. So if you were someone who did initial orders, like you, why would you fill in any numbers for that book?
Yeah.
Who knows what you're getting? Who cares? They'll tell you later. And at that point, you will order some. And it's that way for a lot of books now. Where
They'll tell you right before the FOC.
You might as well do it at FOC because that's when you'll have finalized cover art, finalized creators, finalized content.
And, of course, plenty of time to get the word out to all your subscribers.
Oh, they don't care about that anymore. That's why DC got rid of returnability, because they don't give a shit.
Right? Doesn't matter. None of that works.
Yeah, DC getting rid of returnability is going to drastically affect what we order for books going forward. It's already made sure that Night Terrors is something where I hope people pre-ordered it.
Night Terrors is on my list of books that I read this week. Mm-hmm. I read First Blood.
I read First Blood.
And then I read issue 1.
Yeah.
I liked them both. I liked Josh Williamson's portrayal of Deadman.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically a Deadman story. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it's worthy of a line-wide crossover where they stop everything else for months.
Nope.
But it could have been its own fun little miniseries.
Yeah, I wouldn't
which it is, but it doesn't need to tie in everywhere.
I wouldn't be as down on this if it wasn't taking over DC superhero publishing for 2 entire months.
Yeah.
It is nowhere near as strong a concept as that would require. I read Night Terrors First Blood, and I read Night Terrors Batman #1. And I am done reading Night Terrors.
Okay. They're definitely trying to make this new villain, Insomnia, like a darker Joker in design and mentality. Did you not get that feeling?
Not really. I didn't care for the art on either of the 2 books I read, and I could not get a sense of the character's design off of either one of them.
The first Blood was drawn by Howard Porter, but only pencils.
Yep.
And it shows.
Oh yeah. And I think there was an intention on the art side to make it something
spectral,
spooky, atmospheric, a little creepy. So like when Superman shows up, it's like, oh, this doesn't look right. But it's like, it probably wasn't supposed to look right, but at the end of the day, it doesn't look right.
I think it's a fun concept. I think it's a fun, those books are fun. I don't, I do know that there are stores that are they're cross-pulling for everything. Like, oh, you get Batman, you get Chip Zdarsky's Batman, we're giving you both Night Terrors Batman books, which I think is a mistake.
Absolutely. Yeah, I read Chip Zdarsky's Batman, and I really enjoy it, and I read this Night Terrors Batman to try and give it a shot, and I will not be reading Chapter 2. I am okay waiting until September for Gotham War and then picking it back up then. That's okay with me.
All right, I'll keep talking about books that I read.
Okay.
Since we're in it. We already talked about Devil's Cut.
We did.
Talked about Night Terrors 0 and 1. Mm-hmm. I read Swan Songs.
Okay,
from Image. W. Maxwell Price. Okay. I read issues 1 and 3.
Because it's like another anthology thing where they don't connect, right?
But that's all they gave us.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
so
you can pick up an issue and read it and enjoy it.
The theme of this is endings.
Yes.
It could be the end of a relationship, the end of a life, the end of a sentence,
the end of the world,
the end of a sandwich. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the 2 stories I read. The first one, the art was by Martin Simons.
Okay.
And
I read a few pages of that because I think it was in a catalog or the back of a book or something. I don't remember.
The third one of the art is by Lala Star guy.
Oh, Philip Andrade?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the art's good in both of them. It really sets a mood. It feels like to me that the 2 stories are taking place in the same ending, but not.
Oh, interesting.
Like the world is like post-apocalyptic almost.
Okay, interesting.
But it's not about that. It's about these 2 different things. Mm-hmm. And it's a miniseries. It's like 6.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's 6.
I'm on board. I liked it.
Nice.
I did not. I didn't stick with Ice Cream Man.
No.
But I think Swan Songs is unique, and I totally dug it. That's good stuff. I read Plot Holes.
I did not read that yet.
Which is the Sean Gordon Murphy book from Massive. Mm-hmm. And it's a really fun concept. It's a bunch of fictional characters from books that were never published that need to go into other books that were never published and edit them from within to save them to make them published. And there's a specific publishing level they have to get to before everything gets wiped out.
Interesting.
And everybody in it is a very specific archetype of a fictional genre. Like there's a manga character.
Cool.
There's a mech. There is there's all the different.
Okay.
You can figure it out.
That
and then
sounds
there's a point of view character, and it had the. I want to compare it to Joe the Barbarian, but he didn't write that.
No, but he drew it, and I mean, it had. You can feel that sensibility, and even the
whimsy,
premise, of
if you will.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun premise. It's it does remind me of a different thing from a different genre that I can't remember because I'm old and forget a lot of things.
Understood.
And have bad eyes. But Plot Holes, and I don't care at all about Whatnot,
right?
And I don't care about Whatnot's publishing line.
No.
But this one was worth it. And I'm not sure if this was a Kickstarter book or an online book or something. It was something else first.
Whatnot Publishing feels very much like you still have venture capital money to burn. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see how long that lasts.
We had somebody call today and ask if we were going to be carrying, and I can't remember the name of the book or the band that it's part of, but it's the same name of a book that came out a couple years ago that's out of print.
Oh.
But anyway, it's in the new previews.
Okay.
And it's from Sumerian.
Okay.
Is it still Sumerian now? Is it somebody else?
Behemoth. Well, no.
It was Behemoth. Now it is
Behemoth.
Sumerian. Yeah. So I said, hey, look, you know what? Brass tacks, we're not carrying this book. But if you want to go to challengerscomics.com, going over to the subscriptions tab, and so she was doing it as I was talking.
Right, you're walking her through.
I'm like, and if you just, in this field, you type in the name of the book, don't put issue 1, just type the name of the book, it's going to show you not only that you can subscribe to it, you can pick your cover. Mm-hmm. And then we had to talk about pre-orders versus subscriptions, and they were very excited to sign up for it. I'm like, this way you make sure you get it, because we're not carrying the book.
Nope.
And I don't know if it's that same person, but I did get a notification like, oh, new customers have signed up.
That's cool.
So we'll see. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was very hands-on, but
sometimes you need to do that. I mean, it's less so because of like the interface of Managed Comics, and more so because like there's people who just do not understand comic subscriptions.
Right.
So that's the part you need to walk them through. Is like,
and like they even said,
but how will I know when it comes out? Like, we'll email you, and it'll come. When will the next one come out? About once a month.
The email was a big selling point. Sure. They didn't ask about that, but I'm like, and then when it comes in, we'll email you to say it's available.
Yeah.
And then she said, will you mail it to me? I'm like, if that's what you want, yes. If you want to just come in and get it, you can do that as well. Mm-hmm. Plenty of options.
Yep.
And then I always like to say, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to give us money.
Yes. But don't place an order while Patrick's recording a podcast. He'll just get angry.
Yeah, pretty much. Jerks. Last Days of Lex Luthor.
I read that today.
By Mark Waid and Brian Hitch, who...
And Kevin Nolan.
Suddenly has every comic book out there he's working on.
Yeah. As much as like... So it's a Black Label book.
Yes.
But only in format, not really in like tone or approach. It's a very traditional Superman book, and it's just a great premise because it's what you would call a two-hander. It's two characters more or less. It's Superman and Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is dying and wants Superman to save him. And the tension of the book is Superman is publicly saving someone that the entire world would rather he let die.
But he's Superman. Yeah. He has to save them.
He has to save Lex Luthor. Like I'm going to give one little bit away because it's my favorite bit in the book, and I think it's kind of crucial to like why the thing is so interesting. There's a bit where Superman's like agreeing that he'll help Lex Luthor, but he's like, okay, but after this, you have to turn yourself in and pay for all your crimes. And Lex is like, or what? Like, you're not I don't need to do this to get you to help me. Your help isn't conditional. You're Superman.
Yeah, you're going to help me anyway.
You'll help me no matter what. And it's like, that's so great. It's like, yeah, like Superman cannot play the, like, then you have to reform card. No. Lex Luthor needs help. Superman will help him. And that's such a great premise for like a multi-issue series. And then within that...
And Superman has to assume that even while he's working to save Lex, Lex is figuring out exactly how to kill Superman the second he saves.
Yeah, this isn't Lex like having like some sort of like come to Jesus or come to Superman moment. This is not Josh Williamson Superman where there's a sense of like maybe Lex is finding something in this partnership. No, this is Lex just realizing the one person who can probably save me is Superman, so I'm going to get him to do it. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, Lex isn't changing. And that makes just for a really fun, like, kind of almost a buddy comedy, like, Superman adventure that still has stakes and is still, like, it goes all over the cast of characters, and it's very, like, epic in its scope because Brian Hitch and Kevin Nolan are drawing the shit out of it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's really well done.
It's one that I finished reading the first one. I'm like, I would buy this as a graphic novel. And I don't buy a lot of like regular Marvel DC superhero stuff as graphic novels because you read it and you're like, great, I got the story. This is like, no, this is really good. This is like one of those Mark Waid Superman things where you're like, no, this is one that's going to stand the test of time. This is one that people are going to come back to.
This is going to be a Superman perennial.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, it's going to go for, like, depending on how the next couple issues go, I assume they're going to be as good. I would so far put it alongside your All-Star Supermans and Superman Red Suns, where it's like, I don't know anything about Superman. What's a good Superman book? And I would go, this one. This one's really good.
I mean, it really gets to the heart of who Superman is.
Yeah, and it's
while doing, like, interacting with a lot of Superman mythology.
Yeah, the biggest, like, there's things in sports where, like, a player is really, really good on a team that never manages to win a championship. Shohei Ohtani, for example, on the Los Angeles Angels, is someone who's frequently brought up as, like, it's squandering his talent to be that good and never win a World Series. Never even, like, it's insane. And that's kind of Mark Waid on Superman, where he's never written, to my memory, the monthly Superman comic.
No, he was supposed to.
A couple times, and it just never happened for whatever reason. But he gets the character so well and is able to find so many interesting new angles to illuminate those parts. Like, we rave about World's Finest constantly.
Yeah. Which is a monthly Superman book.
But again, it's not Superman.
Right.
Like, he keeps getting close and doing great things around it.
Draw Spider-Man. Oh, it's the superior Spider-Man.
Right, exactly.
Which is coming back.
The Ben Reilly Spider-Man, that's all I get to draw.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's what it feels like reading this Mark Waid Superman thing. Is like, again, it's another exceptional idea. He gets the character. He knows what makes a fun Superman comic, and yet it's only ever around the edges. Very weird.
Yeah, but definitely a book people should keep their eye on for that.
Right.
I don't like bringing up, like, I don't like saying, oh, I read this book and I didn't like it, so I don't usually have any negative reviews about books.
Yeah, it seems counterproductive.
Yeah. And that's not a lead into this next series. I'm just like, I want, like...
That's why I'm not talking about.
I like all of these books. I read Sacrificers, the new Rick Remender book. You may have seen the Free Comic Day preview for it on Free Comic Book Day back in May.
Uh-huh.
And they gave us the first 3 issues.
Who's the art on this one?
Max...
Oh, Fiumara?
Fiumara?
Sure, okay.
Yeah. The art is gorgeous.
Sure, you don't.
Art...
It's a Rick Remender book. He has the best artists.
The art is A-list art. I mean, the art sells it.
Sure. Again, it's a Rick Remender book.
Rick Remender always has good concepts, but I don't know that he often executes for the length of a story.
Okay.
3 issues in, loving it.
Wow,
I think
great.
it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
The first synopsis I read gives too much away.
Oh, okay. Does it at least all happen in the first issue?
The first synopsis gives too much away. And, like, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, wow, okay.
But it's a fun concept and it's done well, and because of the way the solicitation was written, I had a different idea going into what this is.
Sure.
But this world, these creatures, these gods, these people, these inhabitants, wonderful designs.
Okay.
Like, you think you've seen enough fire god designs, all new, all original, so much fun.
That's great.
Really enjoying it. And I've read the first 3, and now I'm trying to, because I read so many new books. It's like I literally have to write them
You're a
down or
lot.
I will forget. But that's to make up for the weeks I don't read anything.
Sure.
And there's some books that I was, God, one of them was like a 38-page first issue for regular price.
That's good.
Yeah. We don't always hype that stuff in our weekly emails because...
I don't know that it matters.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. I don't think the amount of pages you get for the dollars you pay is necessarily a deciding factor. It seems like it should be, but it's not, because, and this is something we've talked about in the past, where people don't necessarily buy books based on price. They buy it based on interest. And, like, you could charge whatever you want for, like, Ultimate Invasion #1 can be $9 because it's Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch doing a massive Marvel project. Like, it doesn't even need to be oversized to warrant that price. Like, conversely, if it's characters you don't care about and a story that by creators you're not interested in, it doesn't matter if it's $1.99 or 99 cents. It
And
doesn't
you get
matter.
an extra 10 pages or whatever.
Yeah, like the price of a book is not necessarily a high level decision making choice for people. So yeah, the page count like that's sort of like, wow, I'm getting, I'm only paying like 11 cents per page instead of 20 cents per page. I don't think people care.
Sure, so long as they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ultimate Invasion, it always hurts a little bit when somebody buys one on the website to be shipped, but doesn't pay for the 35-cent bag and board. And we're sure now that a pop-up comes up for every transaction saying, hey, do you want a bag and a board?
Right there in the cart.
So you're not getting the bag and the board?
No, man. I guess
I'll
we will
pack
be
it.
getting an email later where someone complains about it.
I mean, I
It's like,
packed it well, but you didn't buy the bag and the board.
Yeah.
And we sell it enough volume, we're just not giving the bags and the boards away.
No.
Especially in this post-pandemic life where petroleum prices keep going up and bags and boards keep going up. Yeah.
It costs probably twice as much as they cost us a couple years ago.
Definitely pay the 35 cents for the bag and the board if you're buying single issues.
Yep. We'll pack it as nicely as we can, but it's still going through the mail.
Didn't
man.
we have a mailer subscriber say, hey, I don't want the bags and boards.
And I made sure to tell them, like, well, we usually put them on to make sure they go in the best condition, but you said you don't want them. I'll take them off.
That's fine. We're not going to go out of our way to damage the books or anything. We try to keep them nice, but sometimes
Sure.
when it gets handed to a mail person, it's out of our hands. I've had some creative packaging today.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good for you.
Extra care, like somebody bought a Rachel Bard How to Be a Bug book, and I made sure that thing was safe.
Good for you.
Good for Rachel Bard, who
Yeah.
we've restocked on.
We got fully restocked on Rachel Bard stuff, which was great. I was expecting her at some point to go like, I don't make that one anymore or whatever, but everything we asked for, she had.
And I thought it was going to take her longer to do as well.
It's neat that like this gigantic order came in like a little tiny box,
Shoebox,
envelope, like an envelope box.
Yeah.
It's really small. For a minute, I'm like, oh god, like what was she out of? Nothing. Everything was there. They're just really small.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Somewhere within the body of this episode, there would have already been the monthly Patreon thank yous. I do want to make it a point to thank Andrew Aaliyah for the Ant-Man popcorn helmet he sent.
Oh, how nice.
That was very kind. Thank you, Andrew. And to thank Chad Wise for the leg piece for my Puff Adder Build-A-Figure.
Yeah. Do you have every
Serpent
part
Squad?
now, or are you still missing
I
something?
do have every part. I haven't built it yet, but I have every part.
Okay.
And Chad had mentioned wanting to be part of the Patreon thanks you in the action figure piece level.
Interesting.
But I didn't go out of my way to record a separate thing for
Oh.
that. So instead, he gets a longer shout out
Personalized one right here.
for this right here. And of course, we appreciate all of our patrons and everyone who listens. And now there's a couple of things I didn't get to. I'm going to point to my notes and show you that I didn't mention Alien books and Valiant. I almost said Alien Entertainment, which
You did.
is the Doctor Who store down the block from us.
Correct.
I didn't make reference to Indiana Jones fandom.
Right.
Look, we had that long talk yesterday
We
about.
did.
And I didn't mention anything about the new Paying Random House international kind of manga imprint,
Just their webtoons. It's fine.
Ink Lore.
Fine.
And lastly, the newest Brian Hibbs Tilting at Windmill column, because
Sure.
I honestly haven't finished reading it.
It's nothing you haven't heard before.
Yeah.
He's made the same case numerous times, and I don't disagree with him as far as like how frustrating it can be to have multiple distributors that you have to deal with who are all basically their own little monopolies.
Yeah.
Like
We got rid of one monopoly and replaced it with three separate monopolies.
His main point, and again, I don't disagree with it, was the dream was always multiple distributors that carried the same stuff, so you could shop around. You could go with whoever you like best, and there would be competition between them. But there really isn't a lot of competition. While you can get Marvel from Penguin Random House, or you can get it from Diamond, but like it's really not a choice because the Diamond one is a lower discount, and you're paying more for shipping. So like you can get it from Diamond, but you're getting gouged.
Yeah.
Like, it's not incentivizing either one of them to do better necessarily.
So those are the other topics, and we kind of touched on them there.
There you go.
And there will be no actual touching because this podcast is over. I paused because I'm like, did I talk about everything I wanted to mention? But I'm holding the notebook right here.
There it is.
And I'm like, there's plenty of times this week I'm like, write that down. The notebook's in my backpack, which is in a different room, and I don't want to do it, but I think that we had plenty of notes. Don't you agree?
I do agree.
And do you agree that we're grateful to those who used audio inputs to inject this into their headspaces?
Absolutely. Do you think the same people that you're just referencing should continue to read like graphic novels and trade paperbacks and just other stuff with like combination of words and pictures, ink on paper?
Always. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
Putting a bow on it.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.